Hi, and welcome to Tartan Talk from the St. Andrews Society of Los Angeles. This week, we have guest moderator Andy Braisted interviewing the National Chef of Scotland, Gary Maclean.
Okay, so when you're cooking with the whiskey, are you using a premium whiskey or a high quality whiskey like an aged single malt, or is a middle of the road or a blended whiskey like a White Mackay or a Johnny Walker Red okay?
Yeah. So again, when it comes to whiskey and food, and normally you're going to find that in a kind of a decent restaurant, a kind of high-end restaurant. And when you're working with whiskey in food, you also want to tell the story of maybe you're maybe pairing a whiskey with a particular ingredient from a particular area. So you tend to use a kind of named whiskey. So you would want to sort of showcase that sort of journey of the food. You know, so if you've got something like venison from the Highlands, you would use a kind of Highland whiskey. Or in Glasgow, I've got a real soft spot for Auchentoshan. It's the Glasgow distillery, and again, for years it was the only Glasgow distillery. There is a couple popped up over the last couple of years. The Clydeside distillery's just opened, but Auchentoshan, it's the only lowland whiskey that's made with Highland water and things like that. And I grew up right beside that distillery, so I love telling the story of that and getting Auchentoshan on the menu. I like things like Lafroig in Cranachan.
I was just going to say the Islay scotches are smoky and peaty. So does that kind of interrupt the taste of the flavor? Because it's not suitable for all people. A lot of the people, some people like it. There's a unique taste to it. So it's
and I'll be honest. I think, you know, when I have went to the States, I found people really like those really peaty, strong, smoky whiskies. You know, there seems to be a real attraction. You know, I remember doing events up in New Hampshire, and the house whiskey was Lafroig, and it was about 4 different types. You know, so as long as you liked that type of whiskey, it was perfect. But so it's all about that story. And again, just sort of to refer back to kind of wine, you go into a restaurant, you get a red wine sauce with something, but I think there's more to it when it comes to whiskey. There's a bit more. And obviously when you're looking at trying to talk about the provenance of your food and the journey, and customers want to know the journey of food. You know, they want to know where it's come from, they want to know the area, they want to know, you know, why it works. And whiskey plays a massive part in that if you can get it onto the plate and tell that story about it. And again, I also like to use, again, when I'm doing events or I'm doing something in the States, a lot of whiskey companies support a lot of the games, a lot of the dinners, a lot of the charitable stuff, a lot of the events that the societies are all doing. And I always ask, if I'm going out to the States to do something, always ask if they've got a whiskey partner, because I will try and incorporate that whiskey into what we're trying to do, and again try and sort of give something back to them for that type of thing. So, but it's certainly a wee bit different. And the easy answer is, when it comes to whiskey and food, if you're happy to drink it, it's definitely okay to cook with. And I've not had a Scotch whiskey that wasn't good to drink. So there's your answer.
I've always heard that some whiskeys are better than others. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my father-in-law, Davy, he was a massive whiskey fan. He's now no longer with us. And he would be turning in his grave if I was to put, you know, a single malt into a plate of food when I could have swapped a bottle of single malt for maybe a bottle of his blended. But again, I think it's all part of that. It's just going back to provenance and going back and telling that story about the dish and the food and the journey, and whiskey plays a major part in that.